Hi, how do you unleash your super brain? So understanding your brain states is really crucial for personal development, for personal growth, but more importantly, from recovering from trauma, because it helps us unlock the potential that your mind has to heal your past experiences. So first of all, personal growth. When we understand our brain states, and there's four, I'm going to talk you through it now, we gain insight into how our brain operates. Now, each state is really unique, and it focuses and stays alert, and that state is called beta, and that helps us to absorb information, learn new things. But what it really does, it helps us maximize our learning potential and our personal development. And for trauma recovery, well, trauma can affect our brain. It affects our brain in various ways, and it keeps us stuck. That's the word I use, my clients use all the time, in a negative emotional state. It triggers anxiety, it triggers fear. But knowing about our brain state will help us to recognize when we're in these really unhelpful states. So it empowers us to shift to a more positive state. And when we learn these techniques, it is helpful. It just helps us to think clearer and make really good decisions. Brain states also plays a really important role in our emotional regulation, but we need to understand them. So when we learn to manage our emotions better, we're able to relax and be more creative. Creativity is a really important part of general life, and it helps us in our emotional regulation. But it also has to help us regulate our stress. And that's something we know we can't do when we're in a trauma state. Also, we need to optimize our learning. So when we're aware of our four brain states, it can optimize our learning experiences. So for example, when brain states is linked to relaxation and creativity, but we don't intentionally do this when we're in a trauma state. So we've got to enhance problem solving. We've got to enhance our creativity. Now, in summary, understanding our brain states helps us to create like a new user manual for our mind. And it helps us to up the gear. So finding the gear from stuck to first is absolutely crucial. So let's have a look at these four brain states really briefly. Delta, this is the slowest and has the lowest frequency, but it's associated with our sleep and our unconscious. We know that our clients struggle with their sleep. So it's really crucial to include Delta to be able to restore our sleep, because the minute we restore our sleep, our mind and body will recover and recharge quicker. Beta is much faster. It's a higher frequency, and that's because it's the state we use when we're awake. It's what you're using right now to listen to this video, and it helps us to be alert and focus. And when your brain is awake and it's focused, it'll allow us to study or engage in conversation and therefore improve our community connection. Theta is the slowest form. It's slower than beta, but actually it's associated with a really deep level of relaxation. It's often when we daydream, and we have a technique in our program that allows you to use daydreaming or the state just before deep sleep, and it helps our mind to recover really quickly. But that's what creates creativity. It helps us to cross T's and dot I's. It helps us to focus on where we feel the negative energy coming from, or where we feel there's negatives. But this is an enhanced state. We teach this in our trauma recovery program. But that's what brings back creativity and intuition. And that's what helps us to re-access memory and emotions and control it, because that's what our program delivers. And then fourthly, alpha. And alpha is in the middle, but it's also very closely linked to our state of calm, our state of relaxation. So when we try and meditate, when we go for a walk, when we put our headphones on, when we sit in the garden and we hear the birds, or we just try and be a bit peaceful. But actually what it does is it helps us to reduce our stress. It helps us to improve our focus, our sense of well-being. And it's really important because this helps us to rest and rejuvenate, which helps us to digest better. And this is the state that we need for learning and self-reflection. Now, we have more solutions available in our program. In fact, there's several, but we do them in the right order. And we have more solutions than just breath work. Breath work is a good option because it does help lower your stress. In fact, it's an integral part of our program. But I kind of feel that things are done in the wrong order. You need to work with the triggers. You need to work with the emotions. You need to be able to work with the root cause, trauma first. We need to disrupt those patterns of thinking and emotions. And then we bring specialist-specific trauma recovery techniques and tools on board that we need to apply. So we also know that our clients struggle with food, and gut health is really important, and that's what we support in our program. But also we know that our clients come in with low self-esteem, with confidence. So we have a resilience coach, Megan, and she's absolutely amazing. So what we know our clients need is tools, structure, process, and techniques to help you move through the overwhelm of trauma. If you're interested, I'm Benita Ackerman-Dupree from the Trauma Recovery School, and I'll see you in our consultation. So if you're interested, book a consultation with us. Make sure that you click the booking button, and I'll see you there.